This is the Western Spectrum, a program that actually brings you issues that affect people over this part of the country, and by extent, of course, the entire country. Of course, today we'll be discussing a very special topic, a topic, of course, that touches on families. And Mike, the fabric that holds family units is bursting at the seams. The family units that used to be safe havens for people where you would actually draw support, you would draw everything that you would actually desire, is actually no longer holding. Family members are coming out complaining, disgruntlement, and of course shouting about what is happening in these units. And the question that we're asking ourselves is that what exactly happening in these family units? To help us, of course, discuss this pertinent issue is Grace Joey Jabita, who is domiciled at the office of the Kisumu County Women Rep, and actually dealing with issues family. But also we have a Gen Z who was actually hit the headlines in the recent past or in the recent weeks for what she did at her mother's funeral, coming out strongly and courageously to actually speak about what was happening in that particular family. Grace, Georgina Acheng Ayugi, welcome to the stage. And we go straight to Grace. What exactly is happening in our family units?
First, we have to look at the family unit as a piece of cotton material that is woven together using strings. Now, each string represents the family. And each of those strings is made up of strands of cotton. And that is the individual family members. Now, the moment one of the family members has a problem and is not handled, then the whole strand is weakened, and hence the whole fabric. Now, when we lose one of the family members because there are issues, it's like you're pulling out the strand from the piece of cloth. That means that the whole fabric then is weakened. So when we have issues that are not resolved, then you end up with a fabric that is very weak. And remember that the family is the smallest unit of the society. So when it is broken, then the whole society ends up being broken. So at the end of it all, we have to ensure that that fabric is as strong as possible, and each strand gets thicker and thicker by the fact that each member understands their role and their role in the whole family, so that at the end of the day, when each person plays their role and the focus is reconciliation and forgiveness, at the end of the day, you have a very strong community. And then there is no external force that then can come in and break this family or the society apart.
Grace, the protestation that you're actually experiencing now tells us that we have actually swept some of these problems under the carpet for way too long. Why is it so? Is it because people that are actually supposed to be dealing with these issues or actually solving some of these issues at the very basic level have actually absconded their duty?
Now, each family has got a structure. Within the structure, each person has got a role. Now, the whole family and the whole structure is a support system for every member of the family. Now, if there's one member who has a very crucial role and decides not to play that role, then you shake the whole family. Now, there are many reasons why we have feuds. We may have because of the inheritance, watu wanang'ang'ania mali, there is wealth that everybody wants. But then, there is that one that people don't want to talk about, and that is polygamy. When not handled well, we have sibling rivalry that is taken up a notch higher. And I will not forgive you because when our father was there, you were given more than I was given. Yeah, the other person got more than I got. Preferential treatment. So at the end of the day, I will hold this in. So when I have children, I will tell them that auntie is not good, but you're not given the reason why. And all those family secrets also end up blowing out. So we grow up as children, we don't know why we are not allowed to visit uncle so-and-so, not allowed to visit auntie so-and-so. But remember, the aunties and the uncles make up the support system that every child needs to grow up healthy, and also to know, because when I know somebody has my back, I will go out there and achieve what I want. But if I think for any reason that I only have my immediate family and I don't have anybody else, remember that I may prevent my children from talking to the uncle. But what happens to my children and their children when they get to meet the children and the grandchildren of that uncle? Will they get help? They will not. Because everybody has got that screen that has gone up. And then at the end of the day, what happens? we have a disgruntled society. And when outsiders come in, we don't have a family anymore.
Fortunately or unfortunately for us, the millennials, we would actually be told, keep this in the family. Now, this generation, very courageous, Georgina, and I'm bringing you to this conversation, that actually sits back, looks at what is happening, and say we are not going to sit and watch. Georgina, where is the courage coming from?
Comes from great honesty and the decision to try to live your life authentically through this journey of being alive. I feel that from the generation you are coming from, people are afraid to live their lives authentically for fear of exclusion, which I think it is very sad. If there is something that is in your heart that is not sitting well with you, I think it should be openly spoken about, and people should not try to sweep things under the rug for fear of making people feel uncomfortable or making them feel a certain way. And this is what personally I did, because I am trying to make decisions that are good for me, that help me to grow in a more healthy and safe environment. And I don't want to surround myself with people who are not genuine and they are not living in their own truths. Yes.
The courage in such a situation, the family members are actually mourning. Yes, someone has wronged you, the other one has done their bit, the other one has not done their bit. But the courage to actually come out. And you're not the only one, because I just saw the other young girl again the other day on social media, actually coming out and calling out on cousins, just to ensure that funerals are not the only meeting points. Where is the courage coming from, and why the choice of funerals?
I don't think funerals is something specific that everyone has chosen, that this is the platform I'm going to air out my issues. But I think it is like one of those moments that you are able to find all families together. And where the courage comes from, I think it is different for you, the same as it is for me. I did not prepare to have the speech before it happened. I think as things went on, everything sort of happened and I stood out and made the speech, And for me, the speech...
You're actually looking at what people were saying.
Yes, observing yes.
and actually asking yourself questions.
Yes, and I'm thinking, why is this happening like this, So for me, it was not something that I had prepared to do before. It sort of just happened in the moment. And my speech was a call to action, and how this call has been met online and with my families has been something very interesting to see. Yes.
Hey, Georgina, when you stood up and spoke about it,
yes.
Of course, immediately there was a reaction.
Yeah.
Subsequently, there's also been a reaction. People actually reaching out to talk to you over the issue, and family members also reaching out to you and asking so many questions. How has it been?
It has been a bit overwhelming, but it has also been very beautiful. I think Kenyans, we love each other, and I have received so much love and support from Kenyans. So many people have sent me messages talking about the same experiences that they've had. So it's also nice that I was able to resonate with someone else who is out there. Yes.
Grace, the problems that she's actually brought up is actually universal. Universal in the sense that you are in a family gathering, you sent out an SOS message saying that I'm in problem, and no one will come to your rescue. However, once you die, unfortunately, right, and the time of actually raising resources to interre you, someone will come up and say, I am in a position to actually take care of the hearse. And the hearse, they're going for the most expensive services, right? The casket, the most expensive services, right? But while you are actually looking for this, all this support, while still alive, no one is actually coming to the fore. Is it the way we've been cultured, or is it the new culture where people are actually competing even at the family level, where they want to be seen as people who are actually given more in terms of grief?
Go back to the example I gave of the fabric. Now, the example that Georgina is giving is a situation where during the funeral, the fabric, tore. Reason being that already there was a gap somewhere, all right? as much as on the outside as they were planning for the funeral and all that, people looked like they were together, but there was an expectation that was not met, right? And probably from Georgina, she expected some honesty from the others, that okay, we were not there before, but now we are here. You know, some sort of apology. But as you and I know that our grown-ups don't apologize. And they don't.
They're always right.
Yeah,
Yes.
they will find ways of saying that I have not done the right thing, either by bringing themselves and doing what you thought they would not do, but they will not apologize. While we expect the young people to apologize when they make a mistake. So the expectation of the young is that we should also be apologizing. Yeah, so if I was not there, maybe I can explain why I was not there. But if I just come in and assume that I will be received by, you know, my nephews and nieces as if nothing happened, then it is wrong. But let us also go back. You know, parenting is not a science where you have formulas that you follow. Parenting is an art. And tell me of any artist that when they are painting, they are referring to a manual. It comes from the heart, all right? So parenting is also more like intuition and tradition. And let me talk about the tradition part of it. For me, the way I was brought up, every August we would go home, and it was mandatory. All my uncles and my aunties would take leave during August and bring all the children together. And my grandmother had a responsibility of talking to the girls. And my grandfather would talk to the boys when they were still alive, God rest their souls. But with the time, we developed some sort of a small bond. But again, as we grew up, we were also Gen Zs at one time also, by the way. As we grew up, those bonds were not as strong again. So like occasionally I can call a cousin, but when I hear they have a problem, I will rush there. But even of finding out how are you doing, you know, where are you okay, is everything fine? I see a post, then I call and say, Itim Rinade, why are you doing that? So that is low. Why are you doing that? Why are you exposing our nakedness on internet? If you have a problem, talk to us. Yet I have been talking, but nobody is listening. So I think for us, as the age, 2 ages above the Gen Zs, we also did now to change the way we approach how we talk to our Gen Zs. Because for them, the digital space has allowed them to express themselves, yeah? Like they cannot talk to us. By the way, you could not even go to your parent and say, you know, you go and even ask for a pencil. You're going to school, yeah? And then the answer your mother will give you ask, do I have another mother to go and ask for a pencil? But it was very normal at that time. But if you tell a Gen Z that now, they will be like, okay, so I can't go to school. How am I going to write? But you could not do that at that time. So what I'm saying is, we need to also now come together again. And the only way we can stop these feuds and these differences is if we shift our interests. We have to change our interests. What was causing the difference? Now, am I able to sacrifice that interest for the greater good? Because I can tell you, the more we are breaking, it is not good for us. And it is not good for this country. We have to come together and have that very difficult conversation. Like I told you the other time, I'm a certified professional mediator. And anytime there are differences, whether it is land or whether it is child support or whether it is, you know, as long as it is not criminal, you have to bring both parties together, identify what happened before, and then if there is need for forgiveness, they have to apologize and then explain their point of view. But unfortunately, we have so many secrets that we don't want our children to hear, we don't want our grandchildren to hear. But at the end of the day, Georgina needs to express herself in a respectful manner. Before it gets out there, during a big family gathering, where everybody should be coming together, it should have happened in a room somewhere as the preparations were going on, all right? She probably did express herself. I'm sure she did. Looking at her, I think she made some comments that caused the other to say, hey, Georgina wants to say something. Give her that space to say what she wants to say. So that by the time you go out there, you are presenting that front that shows people that we may be having our own differences, but out here we are a family and we are one.
Great.
Because that is what is now
You say the start point is actually sitting on a table and in a room and actually having that conversation. What is the next step? Because quite often we call those December holiday meetings, right? And Georgina comes, Grace comes, Simon comes, and even in that meeting, there's no conclusion. You start talking. I am raising issues about your son who came to my place and did not do what was expected. Georgina is out there asking about the money that she sent one of the cousins and the money was not refunded. And by the end of the day, that conversation is not even concluded. I mean, apart from just holding that meeting, which steps do we need to take in terms of going back and looking and retracing our footsteps and understanding where the rain actually started meeting us?
To change our interests, one. And then two, God in his wisdom created all manner of characters in a family. You will find there's always that one person who does not like drama and who does not like conflict. You know, they say that ana msimamo. Ukienda huku yuko, ukienda huku yuko. That is the person that can bring everybody
in the family
together.
factions.
In the family, yes. There's always that person who will remain in the middle. They will always sit on the fence. Now, this is one area where that person who sits on the fence is the best person. Though we are always being discouraged that you must have a stand. But we need to identify that person in the family, or we seek external help. Somebody who has no interest whatsoever in the field, or who has no interest in that difference. Then hear both sides. And usually when you are carrying out the mediation process, you bring both parties together, you hear each side, and then you separate them. Then I talk to you alone. Then I ask you, what would be your worst scenario? That if we get to that point, you'll not agree. But what is your best? Which one is that decision that if it is made, you'll be okay with it? Then again, I go to this person and I talk to them. Then I again bring them together, all right? By that time, I have talked to you, have come down to your best scenario, the other one also. So you have lowered your interest. You have lowered your expectation. Then when you are sitting together, then you'll find that actually you need each other as a family. And at the end of the day, mtaongea na mtakubaliana. So I think at the end of the day, what we need is for the family to have that conversation that nobody wants to have. And let the drama happen. And usually we say that we lock each other in a room, and then you come out of there when you have talked. Mpigane, mfanye nini, but you have to talk. Yes.
Fantastic, Grace.
Fantastic, Grace. I'm just being told that we need to go to KICC, of course, because of the ongoing COMESA summit. A colleague of mine wants to give a small update before we come back again after 5 minutes. But we'll be coming back, Georgina, we'll be talking about some of the solutions Gen Z is actually putting on the table, because you are actually coming out and speaking. So we need to know, because from Grace, it's a long process, but Gen Z want things done right now, right? Of course, we come back to our conversation here, and I want to bring in Georgina. Georgina, of course, offer, she was actually telling me that the issue of actually forging a united front in the family that is actually not the reality in the family is what she does not like. Georgina,
Yes.
how do you go
for that
a united, peaceful front in the family, yet in the background there are so many things that are actually happening?
Compare it to politics in Kenya. A few years ago, there was Afri-Cities happening here in Kisumu, yes. And during Afri-Cities, so many visitors and investors, they were coming to Kisumu, you know. And what I noticed is that the county tried to make the county look presentable. They put maram on the road, juju, to try and make it look nice and make it look beautiful, which I don't think it's a bad thing in its own way. But after Afri-Cities finished, everyone went back to their lives. And at that time, I was staying somewhere in Mamboleo, and for a week or two, I enjoyed the road without dust, It was really, really nice. They opened the highway, it was good. A few days after the Afri-Cities finished, everything went back to normal. I continued to ride on a motorbike on a dusty road. No difference has been made, and it is the same thing I'm talking about with families. Don't just deal with the situation at hand before you reach that point of trying to put up a front. Talk about these issues inside the family with your loved ones, your cousins, your aunties. And for me and my cousins, we have identified that there is a problem of everyone wanting to put up a front, Kila mtu anataka you see the best that is happening in their lives, but nobody really talks about the challenges that they are
actually
facing.
bedeviling the families.
Yes, and for me and my cousins, I hope they're watching, we are actually trying to talk about these things and confront them head on. And we are moving away from our parents and their way of thinking of putting up a front, and we're actually talking about these things and making those difficult phone calls and asking each other, hey, kwani nimekufanyia nini? Like, and actually talking about these things. And I think this is what many people are running away from. They don't actually want to have the conversation. It's beautiful to say, let's have the conversation and talk about it, but when it comes to taking that responsibility and being the bigger person and actually talking about these things, not many people have the courage to talk about these things.
Eugenia, having the conversation is key, and I agree with you totally. But there are other factors that actually are at play. One, I come from a family. And yes, I'm having a conversation with you, but my parents still have a rivalry against your family. How do you navigate through this to ensure that ultimately, even as we speak, it is not just between us, that also our parents can actually sit on the table and resolve whatever underlying issues that are actually facing these families?
Thing that goes, you cannot teach old dogs new tricks,
Great.
And
Yes.
and because you cannot teach old dogs new tricks, personally, I do not want to get involved with the relationship with my aunties or uncles or other family members or reasons why they do not get along. What I can do about the situation is make the most of the present and the now and my cousins that I have with me in the now, so that we make sure that our children in the future do not fall into the same pattern. So of course I have my cousins that our moms have not gotten along in the past, but for us this has nothing to do with us, and we are constantly telling each other, look, whatever is going on with your mom and my mom is none of my business. I see you as you are, and my relationship with you has nothing to do with the family.
So it means that cycle must come to an end.
Yes, it must come to an end, because we want to pass down beautiful memories, that helps us get grounded as children and not the things of the past.
Clearly, Grace, we are sitting on quicksand, and Gen Zs are actually talking and saying that this is not the way things are supposed to be done. They don't want to get involved in our differences. Yeah. However, they want a solution. What does it imply? What does it mean?
I still go back to my earlier summation that
old tricks. You still go back to the old tricks.
No. My earlier summation. At times you have to learn from experience, and then you have to identify what worked and what did not work. Now, what we must appreciate is that a family is composed of very unique characters. Very unique characters. When you go back 10 generations, somebody decides to pick a genetic makeup 10 generations ago. Another one has another genetic makeup of 2 generations ago. And remember that in marriage, you cannot marry your relative. So you have to get somebody from somewhere whose background you don't know, whose experiences you don't know, then they are all in this family unit. A small example. If at all you are like 5 girls in a family, and each of you gets married somewhere, all right? Now, when you come back together, all right, you know each other. There's something common. You grew up together. But here is a case where you are a woman and then you go and get married in another family. You are taking your baggage to that family, generations back, all right? Now, in case there is a small difference, maybe you disagree over a cup. And by the way, these feuds come from very stupid differences, maybe over a cup. And then I will feel that because your husband bought the cup and mine did not buy, or mine is not economically, well off, then now you don't allow me even to use the cup, all right? Now I will pick that and it will build inside and it will simmer. You see, I will not tell somebody that, it is because of a cup. I'll say, alinionyesha madharau. Yeah, there was an element of disrespect. While actually that is not the case. But because of that inferiority complex that this person is already feeling, and then that small act, then I'm going to say, so you are disrespecting me because your husband is a what, and then he's the one who bought the cups. While that person had no intention of doing that. What they needed is that cup maybe to give somebody because you're having a family meeting or whatever. So this person will go with this thing and you will simmer inside and it will build. And then you'll keep telling your children that auntie so-and-so is bad. Don't even eat in that house. And then you start. But they will not tell you the truth that actually it was a cup. So as our children grow up, they are picking that difference. And then at the end of the day, when they now talk about it, they say, auntie usiende huyo ni mchawi. Don't even eat there. Yeah. So as it builds, and then now the other person starts wondering, what did I do? Now, when all this is happening, my first question is, where is the head of this house? Because in every institution, there must be a leader. Where is the head of this house to identify that there's a small difference that is building and then bring these people together? Because when you leave it to continue, it will build until it will become the giant that you cannot contain. But at the end of the day, it is never too late as family. People have to sit down, people have to be honest. Now, this person who picked a small issue, you bring them together to sit. She will not admit that it was because of a cup. She will build something else. There will be drama, and at the end of the day, she will make sure people don't talk. Because she knows deep down inside that it is my weakness that is causing this, but I don't want to stop because it has gone too far. Then at the end of the day, if you do not have a strong head of that family, and the head, I don't mean a man who, it is a head, it can be a woman, it can be a man, but it is the head who is a leader, who will bring them together and riot act. You go this way, apologize, let us be together, bring the children together. Now, that again brings me back to the next point. Who is the head of your family?
Yeah, exactly. And I want to ride on that on that discussion. Head of the family. That's a dicey topic, and I will tell you why. Because in the current setup, when you have money, you have a say in that family, regardless of where you lie in terms of in the family, right? When you don't have money, you don't have a say, regardless of whether you are a firstborn or the lastborn, right? How then do we ensure that we change the tide in a way that a head is supposed to be ahead? And then two, also, when you have money in the family, you're doomed. When you don't have money, you're still doomed. Because they'll say he's doing whatever he's doing because he has money. And people who don't have money, when they raise issues in the family, they still not be listened to. When you have money and you cannot help in the family because you are actually focusing on bringing up your children well, amekataa kutusaidia na ako na pesa. The entitlement.
While these brothers are making money, who is the head of that family? Because it is the head who will actually ensure that there's a level playing field. That it doesn't matter if you have money, you still have to listen to so and so. Because maybe he's older than you, because there has to be that succession part of it. That at the moment I'm the grandfather, I'm the head. But when I am gone, all my sons have gone to their homes. So how am I training them to ensure that they will also take over from? Because this is not something you are taught. Remember I said parenting is intuition and tradition. Yeah. So at the end of it all is, who is the head at that time? Yeah. I know families where there are those who do not have and they are at home, but they are older than those who have money. When people sit around a table, you will only speak when the head who has no money has given you time to speak. And the respect is there. Why? Because the person who was the head before created that environment. But in case that head also has a problem, because also they also had a problem because their head also did not do a good job, it becomes now generational. And by the time now somebody comes up like Georgina, she's not the firstborn, she doesn't look like the firstborn. Yeah, I know she's not the firstborn, she told me earlier. When somebody comes up like Georgina who can speak out, all right, and at times the scales will tilt, and then she'll find herself speaking on behalf of the family. Now, is she given room, all right, to also be guided, to be the best leader that she can be for her family? Because if that one again is missing, then Georgina may go rogue. Because at times when you have power, you have to also control that power. And now Georgina has a power of her voice and her boldness and her courage. But how do we ensure that Georgina can speak to bring change, so that she does not speak to further break the family? Because that is the bottom line.
So are we throwing back the challenge to parents? That if I'm getting you right, that first, it falls right at our doorstep in terms of ensuring that we bring together these family units in the best way possible. That if a child does not have money, is as equal as the one that actually has money, right?
Yes. Yes, when it comes to making decisions, sitting around a table, each child has got a stake. And what I have also learned in my short life, that this one who has money will be so full of that money that they have that there is not much wisdom in them. All right? So at the end of it, you'll find that the one who rarely speaks, who listens more, will actually guide the family better than the one who has all the money. Because the one who has money, everybody wants the attention. And at the end of the day, really, we want to hear that still small voice, as they say for those of us who are born again, of the Holy Spirit, that is the one that is going to guide you to do the right thing. So I'm still throwing this back to the parents. What sort of family are you bringing up? Are you preparing them to face the outside world? Are you preparing your child that if you are not there and they go and visit an aunt or even a stranger, they will fit into that family because they have grown up with the right values? And again, we are going back now again to values. What sort of values are we instilling in our children? For us, it was the cane. I'm telling you, we used to be beaten. Yeah? I went to Magadi Primary School here in Kisumu, and your teacher will tell you if you put a question on the board and you can't answer, you don't talk. Unainama tu hivi. You wait for the cane. All right? Because they used to say that the stupidity of an African is on their back, so you have to remove it. But at the end of the day, what sort of values are we growing up with? We grew up to respect and fear our elders. But we also were taught that if I have a problem with my father, there is a way I can tell him about it without him feeling that I'm disrespecting him. So that at the end of the day, he will tell me his side, why he's doing what he's doing. But before, would you be told? Before, when you are beaten, you are supposed to cry. If you cry, you are still beaten. Why are you crying? If you are asked a question, you are supposed to answer. If you don't answer, you are beaten. If you answer, you are told, you are talking back at me. So it was like, what do I do? But we grew up with it and we understood that what we are being told is that there are situations that will come up where you want to talk, but the wise thing is not to talk. A situation will come up where you want to keep quiet, but the wise thing is to talk and not keep quiet. So it is as you grow up, yeah, the world will teach you. Some of us were more fiery than Georgina. But after having children and now having grandchildren, there are some things that you sit down and watch first before you talk.
You say
And then also, I am also married, I think, in the biggest polygamous family in East Africa. But when we are sitting together, and my husband happens to be the last born, when we are sitting together, there are some things I can say. There are some things I cannot say. I may know it, but I will go and whisper to my sister-in-law, who is higher in the hierarchy than me, and that word will have more weight than when I say, but I've accepted it, because that is where life has put me, and there's also a role I'm playing. There are times when they also come to me and ask me things, but I will find a way of making sure that my voice is heard, but the right way, and then I get the result that I want. But at the end of it, as a parent, how are you bringing up your children? Are they ready to face the world? And what sort of support system are you building for them? Yes.
Fantastic. Gina, she's talked about the family unit, right?
Yes.
The common talk about amongst Gen Zs nowadays is that you don't have an opportunity to choose family. Of course, you find yourself where you are at. You don't know what the agreement your parents had with God for you to be born in Kano, right? But what you can choose is your friends.
Yes.
And friends, you say, are actually making a very good support system, not just when you want to go out for entertainment, but also just even at home in terms of guiding and everything. But also when you have bad friends, it can also influence on how you deal with families.
Just to add on what she has said, I think there is something that most people, they are overlooking. They are overlooking the fact that once upon a time you were young, yes? You were also once upon a time young. And if you...
Young at heart.
Yes. And if you stood up and spoke in front of people, they would assume that, wewe ni mtoto. Like, you know, things, people find a way to say things. They say things in a particular way, you know. But something that we are all forgetting is that as we get older, me and those coming behind me, as we get older, macho yetu inafunguka. Our eyes open.
You can actually see things.
Yes, we can actually see things. We can differentiate. We know this is bad. We know this is good. You know, and this is something that I think our parents are overlooking. You know, they're assuming that we are still young. You don't understand what is happening or how things are happening. But for us, we see, like we know, right now we can tell the difference, of what is good and what is bad.
And as Grace says, some of the issues that are actually bringing or pulling apart these families are very trivial.
Yes.
Alininyima nikikuwa mtoto mdogo. And forever that is instilled in children for generations, right? For decades, right? That huyo mtu ni mbaya, alininyima kikombe. Na ukikuwa mkubwa unanunulia vikombe mingi sana. So then aone nimenunua pia vikombe. Eh?
Well,
Grace, that happens quite often.
No, that happens because I remember there was a case that we were handling during mediation, and when you wanted to find out why did these couples separate, yeah, these small things of the toothpaste, pressing from the bottom or from the top, or putting the toilet seat down, or putting it up, and when I remove my clothes, I throw socks everywhere, because that is the way this person grew up, yeah. But then the lady was like, I can't put up with that anymore, and it was really irritating for her. Why? Because as a child, she used to be beaten for removing her socks and then maybe putting them, unless she puts it in the laundry basket, she'll get a thorough beating. So it was instilled in her that it is wrong. So she's also wondering why this man was not taught the same, so that then the space can be neat. So there are those small things that really affect us. But at the end of the day, what I'm still saying is this: we have to have tolerance. We are different. That is the truth. You walk into an office, you find somebody with a certain character that you have no idea where they came from, but you have to identify what is good in them, focus on that, and also meet your own objectives. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it is interest. So if I realize that the current interest is not auguring well with the other, let me change it and look for something that is common between us. And the same is for family. I get married in that home, or even if I'm not married in that home, somebody comes into our family. People adopt children. Somebody has been adopted into our family. Sibling rivalry, by the way, will start. That what used to split into two, now we are splitting into three. One of the children is not happy, but she'll not say. But she'll hold it, or
even my brother that I used to talk to and actually get assistance from, ameleta bibi. And now huyo bibi hataki mimi ni.
Or I asked my brother for a lift, we were going the same direction, and he refused. You don't know why he refused.
Lazima ni huyo mtu ameleta kwa hivyo.
Huyo bibi ndiye amekataa nisipande hiyo gari.
To say something.
Yes, I don't like that you've said you must have tolerance. I don't like that statement, because if you say we must have tolerance, that is why our mothers, because I am pro-women, I am for women, they end up staying in abusive relationships because you are told tolerate. Kaa tu hapo utulie. No, you don't have to tolerate. If it's not working for you, walk out. It's okay. Like this life, you only get to live it once. I don't have to simply tolerate you because we are family. I can still love you, and we can both agree to disagree. I don't have to stay in your presence and tolerate you. And we also don't have to be at we are close, we are family. We can be
but if we disagree, it must not be the reason as to why our generations must never talk again.
Yes, exactly.
About tolerance is between brother and sister, between cousins.
Even
you know,
cousins,
people whom you are forced to live with each other.
Even
right?
if you're forced, even a husband and a wife can be living together and they reach a point where they feel they are not in love with each other. Why do I have to tolerate a man who is drunk, abusive, is not taking care of his family? Why do I have to tolerate a brother or a cousin who is constantly disrespectful towards me? You don't
Georgina,
have to
you've taken tolerance to the extreme level. What I meant is somebody who removes their socks. And instead of putting it in the laundry basket, they put it inside their shoes.
But the smaller things reflect on the bigger thing.
I want to do with that because we start with those small issues, right? He comes home, throws the socks all over the place. You pick after him, right? She comes home drunk, and you say it is fine because we are in a new generation, and she's saying that is not fine, right? But progressively, that boils into something else. And she says that that tolerance must not be accepted.
Yes. You don't don't accept if good tolerance is okay, you know, if
So
you
which is
if
this
you're
good
saying good, I tell you good tolerance
Yes.
for me,
Yes.
working hard. If you're working towards something, you're studying, it is difficult for you, this is good tolerance because you see light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
But if it is that tolerance that at the end of the day it diminishes you as a person, it
No.
makes you have negative feelings towards people around you, release yourself. You know, you don't have to tolerate negativity. And because I liked that she said, what set of values are families trying to bring forward? Every individual, including myself in a family, I am old enough to realize the values I want for myself. And if I am sitting here with you and I feel your values are not aligning with mine, I will bid you goodbye. And it is okay. I don't have to tolerate a relationship with
We
you.
move to the next step, Regina, the support system.
Yes.
And this is something that has actually been lacking. Either because someone has slept on their job in terms of guidance, as Grace says, or we have just decided that, you know, we are not going to listen to people because of their status in the community. Sindio? So, support system, first of all, how important is it? And how do we ensure that this support system is actually now working? Because now we can choose friends, we can seek professional services like from her, and just the online support that you actually received is also key. Because I saw one of your videos, you are saying that you don't need to give me money, you don't need to want to marry me, but just that moral support of calling and saying, Georgina, how are you? How are you doing? That moral support, how important is it?
In a lot of the comments I've gone through, I think there's the notion out there that no one owes you anything. I have seen many people telling me that you have a sense of entitlement, or nobody owes you anything, you know, and your families don't owe you anything. And I think it's something beautiful to listen to. When someone tells you no one owes you anything, it motivates you, it gives you a sense of responsibility to take charge of your own life and to do things the way you want to do things, you know. But when it comes to families and support system, I don't think this is something that applies, and people who have this in their minds, they really need to get rid of it. And this is what is contributing to people not being there for each other, because mtu anakwambia, me, I don't owe you anything, or you know, but the fact that you are a family, you owe each other something. I think everyone who has ever reached somewhere in life has reached there because of some level of support, maybe from friends, but it has come from somewhere. So nobody is alone, or you're by yourself. Personally, I have my friends, and I am expecting a certain level of support from them. If you feel that you are not owing anybody anything, then I think it's a very sad life to live, because at the end of the day, what is meaning? What are you living for, you know?
And that is exactly what we're discussing, because we are at a level where many people feel that they don't owe anyone anything, and they can do as they wish, right? And ultimately, that has repercussions, that has effect on their surrounding. And that is actually bringing us to why we are having this discussion.
No, but I think in my short life, I have learned that I meet different people.
Yes.
And different people are brought up differently. Something they consider as a value, I may not consider as a value. But that does not mean I don't tolerate them and still work with them, all right? Because it does not necessarily have to be within the family. It does not necessarily have to be my husband. And by the way, I'm one of the advocates against gender-based violence, yeah? And if I hear about it, my friend, you'll have problems. So any woman staying in a relationship that is abusive should actually walk out, all right? And na hiyo sasa kuna hata mediation. That one is not
make
there.
it clear that
Yes.
gender-based violence